One thing I like to say is that Quakers do not have a monopoly on truth. And the longer I'm at George School, the more self-evident that becomes. I am very clear that Quakerism is one among many paths, one among many disciplines for getting at the deeper question of what is true. But I'm happy to say that I have learned at George School many other paths that are equally valid and equally effective at helping me and helping other people arrive at the truth. My name is Tom Hooks, and I am a teacher here at George School. I'm in my 16th year. I currently teach classes including peace studies, holistic health, Buddhism for beginners, theory of knowledge, essentials of a friend's community, and faith, responsibility, and sustainability. I grew up in a Quaker family, and I've identified as a Quaker my whole life, but what that means and what that means for teaching has actually changed a lot. And during my time at George School, the number of people on the faculty and the number of students who come from Quaker families has actually decreased a lot, so that my understanding of what I'm doing as a teacher of Quakerism and a teacher of Quaker ethos and Quaker practices and Quaker spirituality has actually shifted in a way that I actually like better than teaching the old school conventional Quakerism. When I first arrived here 16 years ago, for example, we had a world religions course for ninth graders that had a series of multiple choice tests and essentially worksheets so that people would do reading and then respond by filling in the worksheet and then taking a test that demonstrated their ability to remember the knowledge that was on those worksheets. And in many ways, it was a very conventional form of education at the time. And I remember it didn't sit right with me, but I was new to George School and hadn't been teaching in high school for a number of years. And so I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and do what's expected of me. And over time, as I got feedback from students that was not really inspiring and actually wasn't something they got motivated by, I wanted to switch things up and teach class in a way that made them feel excited so that they actually feel fully alive and fully present. And so what that ends up looking like will depend upon the curriculum, and it depends a lot upon who's in the room at the time. For me, the fundamental Quaker principle that there is that of God in every person is actually an awesome challenge. Because if I find myself feeling not in touch with the divinity of somebody else in the room, then that's a failing by me. That's an opportunity for me to realize, like, oh, snap, that's not the student underperforming. That's me underperforming because I'm not bringing out the divine in that kid. So what do I have to do to switch up things to make this experience feel like recess in kindergarten? I want every day in my class to feel a little bit like recess at kindergarten. And some people might think like, oh, that's somehow soft or shallow. And I would say quite the opposite. It's fully present and alive. If you see kindergartners playing, they are fully intense on what they're doing, whether it's playing in the sandbox or kicking a ball or playing with a balloon or playing with scissors and, coloring paper. So for me, if I teach the traditional sort of textbook approach to peace studies, which is the course that I inherited from my predecessor, then I'm teaching the same course to everyone. And so we may have a quiz about Mohandas Gandhi, and everybody has to know the same information. But if instead I customize the course so that everybody gets to care about what they care about, now I'm teaching 15 different courses to 15 different people in the room, which is exhausting, but it also means that everybody cares about their homework. So everybody's going to write an original journal about some aspect of what we talked about or what we read that is actually personally meaningful to them, and suddenly now they care. And if they are invested in what they're learning, they're much more likely to do extra work because they care. And then when they develop their own final project, then I guess we are in the zone of producing peace. So in our most recent peace studies class, we had a number of students choose topics that were really personally specific, and they cared a lot, and they showed up for that final presentation because this was personally meaningful to them. And if we're going to create peace in the world, it has to happen right here, right now, where we can actually do something about it, not abstractly in some never land that most of us are never going to get to visit anyway.